Tuesday, September 6th. Called my mom. And I was telling her, it's like, it's still fascinating. I don't know how it was earlier, but this is how it is now. It's lightening up. It's definitely lightening up. Like, it looked a lot more purple and kind of black. Now it's like a lot more like a light green. And there's almost like this fading occurring at the same time. So I thought that was really neat. So I've been keeping my hand on the map for most of the day. I still feel the pull, and then I didn't even bother looking it up. Like, usually I look up stuff. And I looked up and it's like, oh, keep your arm elevated. I was like, oh snap, I didn't do that. That's probably why I still feel it. Like, now the swelling is just at the tip now. Yeah, slight. So I still feel it pulsing, and I've been moving it because I cooked the rest of my vegetables and ate my fish. So I've been moving it, and it says it's good to move it, right? To keep it you're moving it. But anyways, that's all I want to talk about. I'm finishing up my coping skills course and just making adjustments. And I'm like, damn, this is a longer course than the first one, but it's a really thorough course for someone who wants to learn how to master their coping skills. And I'm reflecting on my clients, even reflecting on like my purpose, right? And how, people are skeptical of my dreams. Fine, they could be skeptical. Like, for me, there's so much more, right? And then just listening to my stories again, I'm just like, wow, like there's so much there. And then, so reflecting on the shift, because one of the last videos I saw was when I forgot what I titled it. It's something about allowing, it was one of the last ones, allowing the unraveling and realigning of the truth is what I titled it. When I'm talking about the DSM-5 and just mental health and this awareness that I've had as I'm hearing people's stories, right? The pattern of stuckness, not being able to get out and break through the norms, right? That we've created. We've all created. Like, this is the ripple effect of that now, right? So what we're experiencing now was the ripple effect, the momentum that was put out there from all of us meaning my generation, my lineage, and how it's no longer, right? It no longer fits us. And it's funny. So I listened to MJ's message today. One of the messages she put out like 2 or 3 today. And it talks about this right, this tower moment that's going to keep occurring over the next couple of years in society, and because we're evolving, we're needing to move forward, and there's a lot of deconstructing that is occurring right now. And I don't watch the news. Like, I know there's a deconstruction, but my energy doesn't need to be there, because that's for other people to take care of. Like, my energy needs to be on the rebuilding, right? On holding the light. So she talked about how a lot of people who are holders of the light, right? It's not like religion where you go and you're trying to convert people. No, at all. It's just, I'm just gonna be here and do my thing, and people will come, right? Those who are ready for it, those who are ready for the realignment, for the change, for the healing will come. I don't need to go and convert people or change their mind about how, no, like, let them live their life. That was another video, a dream that I had about just allowing things to unfold, and how people are torn with allowing, right? Not realizing that there's some people that are meant to be more of the charge, right? And then there's other people who do it in a different way. And then there's the people who just allow things to occur because their attention needs to be elsewhere. So I was thinking about that. And so she brought up these really great points about, like Mother Teresa and Mr. TNH, right? Like these were all holders of the light, different religions, but they were all holders of the light. And you didn't see them go and convert people. You didn't, as far as I know, right? I could be wrong, but as far as I know, they didn't go out and like advocate, right? It's more like they just spoke their truth, and it made sense for people, and that's how people followed, right? And this other awareness that MJ said, she said, when the destruction continues to occur, because that's just, the deconstructing of what doesn't work to build upon that which does, a lot of people who aren't ready for it are going to be struggling. They're going to be in pain. And so she talked about how, Mother Teresa, who was out there among the sick, like you have to have a certain level of healing, inner healing, to withstand that type of suffering, to withstand and be present with them, without letting it affect you to where you start breaking down, right? And that comes with the healing process. That comes with, and I think about it, in terms of like, yeah, like she was able to protect her energy, however she did it, right? However they did it, in a way where, unless it's, everything going, grain of salt, because we don't see the behind the scenes stuff. That's, little cliff note thing for me to also be mindful of. It's like, well, we never really saw the behind the scenes stuff, so we really don't know, right? If they spent hours crying in the room before going out and serving again, right? But MJ pointed out, like, yeah, there's a certain level of how important it is for whoever else is out there with that same healer role, right? For us to do our healing so that we can be ready for those who come, or for the next wave, right, of people who are needing help. And I'm thinking about like just a lot of the other people and just the awareness of like, damn, like a lot went down in 1 month, right? That I broke it up into 2 months worth of footage. And that's just 1 month. We're talking this like 8 months ago, 7 to 8 months ago. So now imagine, right? The breakdown of what the rest of this past year looked like for me, and what was being triggered and highlighted and evoked with it, like this rapid, right? Goes back to this rapid pace of healing. Because I mean, hasta yo me sorprendo, like, how much went down, right? So I was grateful to hear her message and just kind of review what I did and where I am now and where my clients are and how I'm choosing to navigate this new chapter in my life with providing services to adults, because I've shared it with most of my clients, if not all of them, like, and I tell them like, this is the first year I work with adults only. I mentioned that I'm very transparent about what I know and what I don't know, and I tell them like, I've worked primarily with this, but from what I've gathered so far, this is what I'm seeing. We're in cycles, and we repeat stuff, and when we are not aware of what we're repeating, we keep getting stuck in the same cycle. And then it's the why me, why me, why me. So last night I had this repeated talks. I've had this talk with her before, but this was a client that I didn't know all of her stories. So she was really frustrated with the relationships the failed relationships, right, that she was experiencing, intimate relationships. And so I mentioned to her, I want to encourage you to map out all of the relationships you've had, because, and she kind of told me, she was one of the ones that asked me, like, did you know that this was coming? And I kind of did, but didn't, because I didn't know all of her stories. And I remember telling her, there was a feeling like I knew that you were jumping too quickly, is what I told her. But I don't know all of your stories to really understand like what the cycle looks like or where you were on that spectrum of intensity with the experience. So I brought it up to her attention again, and I said, I want to encourage you to map out all of the relationships and let's, and break them down. And we were like 20 minutes before the session ended. So it could have ended there. And she said, well, can we do it together? I said, sure, go ahead and start talking. So as she talked, I made some notes too, just to kind of follow along. There was a lot of information that she was sharing. So it was a lot of what we covered. And it was just her sharing, and she was making notes too. And as she's making notes, she's getting this awareness, like, oh my gosh. And so so much is being highlighted for her. So in the end, she comes to this conclusion, and I say, yeah, that makes sense. I said, and she recognizes her own progress with letting go of relationships. But then I said, what else stands out for me is that fact that all of these relationships overlap, and you haven't really experienced time alone. And so she's like, oh my gosh, you're so right. And so I said, so how does that make you feel to be alone? And so she sat with that, and I mean, it's all and so she's thinking like these are all isolated stories. I said, no, it's all interconnected. It's all interconnected. So it's like this moment, right? She's ready to do the work. She's ready to do the work. And I've made that, and I'm saying this because I got triggered with my coping skills course. Those who are ready to be aware, to no longer be in denial, to do the work and change and let go of what they've realized is holding them back. Like, these are the clients where I don't have to do exploring traditional therapy. No, they're wanting the information. They're me. They are me. They are ready to do the work, to see the cycles, to see the patterns, and you know, and those are the clients that are shuffling through faster. Like they're making progress faster. Once they're ready, it's like, oh, this is what that was. Let's do this. And then I have clients that aren't there yet. They're on the other spectrum where it's more paced. It's more. Can't be so direct with their experiences. I have to kind of go around, because how guarded they are, or how afraid they are about the process, or, you know, like, so I'm doing more storytelling in a way that's safer for them, because there's so much more trauma involved, and the storytelling helps them feel normal, right? Like, hey, this is a normal response to your situation. I read somewhere or heard somewhere where they recommend the importance of saying this is a normal response to an abnormal situation. But the thing is, when it happens so much, you know, I mentioned it, we live in a wounded world. The world right now is so much more wounded than ever before, right? Where what used to be abnormal is no longer abnormal. It has become the norm, right? There's so much trauma that it's become the norm. It's becoming the norm. So to say something like that, for me, it's like, it's, you know, we're putting it in a box, right? So then we're making that personal story for that individual not normal. When it is, it's their norm, it's their baseline, it's their starting point. And so when I'm in the way that I'm teaching is this element of being comfortable with your starting point wherever it is on the spectrum, right? Let's throw out this whole concept of abnormality or normality, because the reality is, for each of us, our own path is our norm. It's our baseline. This is our starting point. And then the experiences will take me from one extreme to another. They just naturally will. So it's, I may have a range of intensity. I don't know, I'm thinking, and I'm putting pieces together, and it's just, I'm fascinated by, I don't know what I'm just fascinated by this awareness right now. And just how can I break this down, right? How can I break this down in a way that's simple and self-explanatory? I had a friend of mine, I shared with her my what I put together, my poetry. I've only shared it with 3 people, and she's one of the 3. My mom, what's the other one? My mom, her, and then the submission. Those are the only 3 groups, of people. This person, this friend, this buddy, happens to be, that's her world, I'm learning. And so sometimes our conversations are about the word writing. So she sent me an email. She wants to be my editor. And I'm sitting with it, I'm like, I don't know. She brought up a good point in terms of how my writing style is. Mind you, I've never taken a writing course. I've never, this is just stuff that's coming out, right? And I'm just putting it all together. Somewhere in the middle. Not a great writer, I'm an average. My concern was, I want to make sure that I speak clearly. For those who are me, right? Who are tuturu me, who don't get it and need it spelled out, but also the more like, oh, I get it. But oftentimes I don't when it comes to reading and poetry. It takes me a bit to process. So she mentioned how some of the poetry left her, she trust your readers, trust your writing, and trust your readers. Because she's like, it's like you're giving it the information, but then you give them the answer. And for me, that was the purpose. I'm like, I want to give them the answer because, and I want more information. I'm definitely going to ask her more questions. But it made me think about my intentions, right, with my writing. Because I'm not there to explain it. But then the other element was poetry is art, right? Each person's going to take from it what's meant for them, right? So it doesn't necessarily have to be completely spelled out, Yubi, right? I guess for some people who view poetry as art, well, I mean, I did, but it's more of this, let me entertain myself with your words, right? Let me try to figure it out on my own. I'm like, yeah, but that's for smart people. For me, as much as I love poetry, a veces I get frustrated because I'm like, I don't get it. Just tell me what's the pattern, what am I missing? So I'm somewhere in the middle with that feedback that I appreciate so much. I'm so grateful because I haven't really had that for my work. So I'm still sitting with I haven't responded back to her because I'm sitting with it. I'm still sitting with it to see. I'm going to definitely ask more questions, but I don't know if I'm going to take her up on her offer of becoming my editor. Because I don't know what that looks like. I don't know. That's a whole other world for me. Writing is a whole other world. Being an unprofessional, right? It's not something that I didn't take classes to write. So no more batteries. I'll end it there. That's all that's been triggered right now. Alright, bye. Hey you, my name is Yubi and I use she, they pronouns, and you've just finished watching a clip from my video diary entries where I'm documenting my healing journey as I learn how to navigate my spiritual awakening. I have learned that this experience and process is unique to each and every one of us in whatever way we are embracing living our truth. This just happens to be my journey. And despite me having a graduate degree and a license in clinical social work, this by no means is intended to replace any type of formal mental health advice. This is just me on a personal level, shedding light on the truth that I am learning and discovering for myself as these experiences unfold, and really inviting you along for the ride. Please know that there is a time gap between when these videos post and my real time life, and also that these clips build upon each other similar to chapters in a book. So if you find yourself lost or confused, feel free to click on the playlist section or the link below, where you can jump around, check out the other chapters, and or catch up. Also, please know that you're more than welcome to check out my website, www.youbecominghealed.com, where I've gathered all of this information, my background, experience, and education to create online self-paced courses to help you on your healing journey wherever you are. You're also more than welcome to check out my other YouTube channel at Yubi Coming Healed, where I've entertained a podcast, including clips from these courses so that I can make this content accessible to more and more people. Please click like, subscribe, and share this content so again it reaches more people, with the hopes that other people will resonate and connect with the healing journey and the stories shared so that they don't feel alone in their own process. I thank you in advance. I'm grateful to you, and I wish you well.